Rest in peace, Rob. Rest in peace, Michele. You deserved so much better than this. Do you remember Sunday mornings, December 15th, 2025, when you opened your phone and saw the news that stopped the world? Hollywood legend Rob Reiner, the man who gave us When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, found stabbed to death in his own home. Not by a stranger, not by a burglar, but allegedly by his own son in the early morning hours of December 14th, just 13 days ago. The man who spent decades making us laugh as Meathead on All in the Family, who directed some of the most beloved films in American cinema, who fought for children's rights and social justice, gone in an act of unimaginable family violence. His wife Michele, his partner of 35 years, murdered beside him. Their daughter Romy discovered the bodies. Their son Nick arrested hours later, covered in evidence, buying a Gatorade at a gas station near USC like it was just another Saturday night. This is the story of Rob Reiner, a man born into Hollywood royalty who carved his own legendary path, only to have it end in the most brutal, heartbreaking way imaginable. From the comedy rooms of All in the Family to the blood-soaked floors of a Brentwood mansion, this is a story about genius, family, addiction, and a tragedy that shocked even a town that thought it had seen everything. Robert Norman Reiner was born on March 6, 1947, in the Bronx, New York, into the closest thing Hollywood had to royalty. His father was Carl Reiner, the legendary comedian, writer, and creator of The Dick Van Dyke Show. His mother, Estelle Reiner, was an actress and jazz singer who would later deliver one of cinema's most iconic lines, "I'll have what she's having," in her son's film When Harry Met Sally. Growing up, young Rob lived at 48 Bonnie Meadow Road in New Rochelle, the same address, almost to the number, as the Petrie family in his father's sitcom. Life imitated art, and art imitated life. Comedy giants like Mel Brooks and Sid Caesar would visit the house. Rob would watch his father and Mel Brooks perform their legendary 2,000-year-old man routine in the living room. This wasn't just childhood, this was a masterclass. But being Carl Reiner's son came with crushing pressure. Carl had won 12 Emmy Awards. He was untouchable. Rob felt it every day, the shadow, the expectations, the constant comparison. When he graduated high school in 1964, his parents suggested summer theater. Rob got a job as an apprentice at the Bucks County Playhouse in Pennsylvania, then enrolled at UCLA Film School. He studied for 2 years, but never graduated. He was too eager to work, too hungry to prove he was more than just Carl Reiner's kid. Rob Reiner's first marriage was to a woman who would become a legend in her own right, Penny Marshall. They met in 1971, neighbors from the Bronx who reconnected in Hollywood. Penny had a daughter from a previous relationship, Tracy Reiner, born in 1964. Rob legally adopted her, and Tracy would go on to appear in his film A League of Their Own. The marriage lasted from 1971 to 1981, 10 years of two ambitious artists trying to make it work, while the spotlight burned hotter every day. The divorce was quiet but painful. Rob threw himself into work. Then, in 1987, while directing When Harry Met Sally, he met Michele Singer, a photographer working on set. She was beautiful, talented, and understood the industry. More importantly, she made him believe in love again. Rob later admitted that meeting Michele changed the entire ending of When Harry Met Sally. He made Harry and Sally end up together because he had found his own happy ending. They married in 1989, the same year the film was released. Rob and Michele had 3 children together: Jake Reiner, born 1991, now 34. The eldest and the steady one. Jake chose journalism over Hollywood, working as a reporter for Houston's KPRC Channel 2 and later CBS Los Angeles. Today, Jake is the one holding the shattered family together, planning memorial services while his brother sits in jail. Nick Reiner, born September 14, 1993, now 32. The troubled middle child. Nick's life has been defined by addiction since he was a teenager. He first entered rehab at age 14. By 2016, he had been to rehab 18 times. He was homeless in Maine, New Jersey, Texas, spending weeks on the streets. In a 2016 interview with People magazine, Nick said, "I was homeless in Maine. I was homeless in New Jersey. I was homeless in Texas. I spent nights on the street. It was not fun." Rob tried everything to save his son. In 2016, they collaborated on Being Charlie, a semi-autobiographical film about Nick's struggles with addiction and his relationship with his parents. It was Rob's way of understanding, of connecting, of showing love. But the demons were too strong. Police were called to the Reiner home on many occasions over the years for incidents involving Nick. At the time of the murders, Nick was living with his parents in a guest house on their property. Romy Reiner, born 1997, now 28, the youngest, a photographer and artist like her mother. Romy lived across the street from her parents with a roommate. On the afternoon of December 14, 2025, she went to check on her parents when they didn't answer calls. She found her father's body in the master bedroom. Her roommate called 911 at 3:38 p.m. Romy didn't know her mother was also dead until paramedics searched the house. That image, that discovery, will haunt her forever. Today, Jake and Romy have released statements asking for privacy and compassion. They called their parents our best friends. They are planning a memorial service while the world watches their brother's murder trial unfold. The final chapter of Rob Reiner's life was supposed to be triumphant. In 2024, he released Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, returning to the characters that launched his directing career 40 years earlier. He appeared in 3 episodes of The Bear on Hulu. At 78, he was still working, still relevant, still beloved. But behind the scenes, the family was fracturing. Nick's addiction had never been conquered. The 18 stints in rehab hadn't worked. The homelessness, the interventions, the loving collaboration on Being Charlie, none of it had saved him. Police had been called to the Reiner home repeatedly for incidents involving Nick. The family was exhausted, heartbroken, terrified. On December 13, 2025, Rob and Michele attended Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. It should have been joyful, a celebration with friends, colleagues, people they loved. Instead, their son Nick showed up and made a scene. The argument was loud enough that multiple guests noticed. Rob tried to manage it, to calm Nick down, to protect his dignity. They went home that night not knowing they had hours left to live. Sometime in the early morning of December 14th, Nick Reiner allegedly entered his parents' bedroom and stabbed them to death. Multiple sharp force injuries. They died within minutes. The medical examiner confirmed homicide. Their daughter would find them that afternoon. The world learned of their deaths on December 15th when news broke. President Obama and Michelle Obama released a statement. Rob's achievements in film and television gave us some of our most cherished stories on screen. California Governor Gavin Newsom called it heartbreaking, praising Rob's boundless empathy. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass called it a devastating loss for our city and our country. The funeral has not yet been held. Jake and Romy are planning a memorial service at a later date. Rob and Michele were cremated. Death certificates list their final resting place as Jake Reiner's home. They wanted to keep their parents close, literally. Meanwhile, Michelle Obama revealed on Jimmy Kimmel Live on December 15th that she and Barack were supposed to visit Rob and Michele the day their bodies were discovered. The visit never happened. They never got to say goodbye. Rob Reiner died with a net worth of approximately $200 million, built over 5 decades of acting, directing, producing, and smart investments. His wealth included the Castle Rock Entertainment sale, $160 million in 1993, real estate holdings worth $30 to $40 million, and ongoing residuals from films and Seinfeld that will generate income for decades. The estate will be divided among his 4 children, Tracy, 61, Jake, 34, Romy, 28, and theoretically Nick, 32. However, under California's Slayer statute, if Nick is convicted of killing his parents, he will inherit nothing. The $200 million empire will be split 3 ways instead of 4. But Rob Reiner's true legacy isn't money. It's the films. It's When Harry Met Sally, playing at every wedding. It's The Princess Bride, passed down from parents to children. It's Stand By Me, making grown men cry. It's A Few Good Men and You Can't Handle the Truth. It's This Is Spinal Tap and Amps That Go to 11. Beyond Hollywood, Rob and Michele were tireless activists. They co-founded the I Am Your Child Foundation, advocating for early childhood development. They successfully fought to overturn California's Proposition 8, which had banned same-sex marriage. They championed children's rights, LGBTQ+ rights, anti-smoking campaigns. They used their wealth and platform to make the world better. Rob Reiner was supposed to grow old gracefully. He was supposed to direct more films, watch his grandchildren grow up, celebrate his 80-year-old birthday in 2 years. Instead, he and Michele died violently, senselessly, allegedly at the hands of the son they tried desperately to save. Hollywood has lost legends before. It has weathered scandals, overdoses, suicides. But this? A son murdering both parents in their own home. It's a darkness that even Hollywood's most twisted noir couldn't imagine. As we remember Rob Reiner, we don't just remember the director or the actor. We remember the man who made us believe in true love through When Harry Met Sally. We remember the man who showed us the power of friendship in Stand By Me. We remember the man who taught us that as you wish means I love you. We remember a father who never gave up on his son, even when that son was homeless, addicted, lost. We remember a husband who loved his wife so much that he changed a movie ending to reflect his happiness. We remember an activist who fought for children he would never meet. Rob Reiner's story ends in tragedy, but his legacy, his films, his activism, his heart, will endure long after the headlines fade and the trial concludes. Rest in peace, Rob. Rest in peace, Michele. You deserved so much better than this. The camera fades to black, but the stories you told will never die.